Struggling with paying them off because being a teacher, you don't make a whole lot of money.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-758-5360 to talk to a certified counselor.
I had heard about Trinity, so I made the call. They took care of all of my credit cards, and now I am completely debt-free.
Trinity will consolidate your bills, stop collections calls, stop late fees, reduce your interest, and possibly improve your credit score. You'll save thousands.
The people at Trinity are very friendly. They will do whatever you need them to do in order for you to feel better about being in a very difficult place.
If your debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-758-5360.
My name is Ann, and I'm debt-free for keeps.
That's 1-800-758-5360.
What's happening? What does it mean? Why is it important? We've got the answer. AM560 The Answer.
Fox News Radio. I'm Lisa Lacera. 2 days after his cohort was shot and killed, the second of the two escaped murderers from an upstate New York prison is shot and wounded by a New York State trooper just miles from the Canadian border. David Sweat now in the hospital.
Today it was routine patrol by the sergeant who spotted him on the side of the road, and some good heads-up police work by the sergeant, very alert.
State Police Superintendent Joseph D'Amico.
Obviously, we're looking to interview him. There's a lot of blank spaces between the time they left Dannemora Prison 3 weeks ago and when they were apprehended, and we would like to fill in some of those spaces.
The other escapee, Richard Matt, was killed Friday by authorities. Two prison employees who authorities say helped the pair are under arrest. A deadly plane crash outside Boston.
The FAA and the National Transportation Safety Board are investigating how a small plane on its way from Lancaster, Pennsylvania to Norwood Airport here in Massachusetts crashed into a home in Plainville, 45 minutes southwest of Boston. State fire official says 4 people were in the house at the time. State Trooper Matthew Garino.
3 occupants of the plane are deceased, but the people that were in the house were able to escape the residence.
Garino says the entire house was engulfed in flames.
It's sort of a cul-de-sac area on a very quiet street, not near the main road.
Homes in the area list for more than $500,000.
Fox Radio's Bill Marcus in Boston. NASA is saying it's a tough day for the agency after an unmanned craft owned by SpaceX broke apart minutes after launch. The craft was to bring supplies to the International Space Station.
There's no negligence here. There's no, really problem with this. It just shows the challenges that we have facing engineering and the challenges of spaceflight in general.
NASA's Bill Gerstenmaier. It's the second consecutive failure of a shipment to the space station and the third in 8 months. You're listening to Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Teams inbound wide open. Lake Cook to Montrose at 19 minutes. Same story on the way back out. Montrose to Lake Cook at 19 as well. Kennedy inbound flowing freely are headed downtown. 21 minutes from Montrose is 10. And on the way back out to downtown and Montrose at 10 minutes. Out to Harris 20 express lanes are at 8 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound wide open. Thorndale to Old Post Office at 29 minutes from Manheim at 16. And on the opposite end, same story. Old Post Office to Manheim at 16 minutes. To Thorndale is 29 minutes. On the inbound Stevenson, traffic is flowing freely. 355 to Lakeshore Drive in 34 minutes, and the Tri-State is 24. For Cicero is 10, and the same story on the way back out. Lakeshore Drive to Cicero at 10 minutes. The Tri-State is 24 to 355 is 34. Dan Ryan inbound 95th to downtown at 16 minutes, and the way back out downtown in 95th at 15 minutes as well. Currently 73 degrees. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, high 72. Tuesday, scattered thunderstorms with a high of 77. Next update in 15 minutes on AM560, The Answer.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. AM560 on-target radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble, and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invites you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com or call 877-954-3030. That's 877-954-3030. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
Every month, Heather Cook helps dozens of people file claims for life insurance bought through SelectQuote. The stories she tells are inspiring, like this one about Joe, a 39-year-old research analyst. Joe was healthy, but with a wife and 2 sons, he realized he needed life insurance just in case. Joe called SelectQuote. His agent, Scott, shopped a number of highly rated term life companies, and though Joe's budget was tight, got him a $1 million policy he could afford. Last April, Joe died from heart failure. But thanks to his life insurance through SelectQuote, his family can keep the house, and the boys can go to college. See how affordable SelectQuote can make just in case for you.
For a free quote, call 1-800-700-1773. 1-800-700-1773. 1-800-700-1773. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste.
If I could have gotten 51 votes in the Senate of the United States for an outright ban, picking up every one of them, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in, I would have done it.
I have 2 words for you: predator drones. You will never see it coming.
It's time for On Target Radio, Chicagoland's only radio show dedicated to the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech. Now, debating, debunking, and discussing today's hot issues. Here are your hosts, David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
Welcome to On Target Radio. Tonight, David and Gretchen's guests will be Discovery Channel's Sons of Guns television personality Glenn Fleming. Glenn, an Air Force helicopter door gunner in Afghanistan, has a telling tale about post-traumatic stress disorder, dealing with the Veterans Administration, and having to fight to regain his Second Amendment rights. So be sure to give us a call at 312-642-5600, or go to Facebook, like our page, On Target Radio, and ask a question there.
And now, from the seething cauldron of personal opinion, it's time for David's Rant of the Week.
All things considered, when compared to some of my friends, I had a pretty easy tour with the Army's 1st Infantry Division Medical Corps in Vietnam. We had our moments, to be sure, but nothing like some of the horror stories I've been told by others. Regardless, in January 1968, during a 2-week leave at home after having just returned from Vietnam, my 8-year-old sister thought she'd play a trick on me. It was dark when I returned home that evening, and as I closed the door and reached for the light switch, she jumped out of the darkness yelling, "Boo!" I grabbed her by the throat and rammed her against the wall before I realized what was happening. While the strong reactions have long since subsided in me, to this day, the smell of blood, the sound of a helicopter overhead, or the pop, pop, pop of an AR-15 trigger some fairly vivid memories, but certainly not with any significant impact. Others are not so fortunate. On average, 5 active duty military personnel attempt suicide every day. According to the PTSD Foundation of America, in 1992, the worst year for military service-related suicides, 245 military personnel took their own lives. All told, since 2006, over 1,100 military men and women have taken their own lives, and 200,000 marriages have failed. That's 2 out of every 3 military personnel marriages. PTSD is not solely the domain of military personnel. It's a psychiatric disorder that can occur following the experience or witnessing of a life-threatening event such as natural disasters, terror incidents, serious accidents, or physical or sexual assault. Common PTSD symptoms include frequently feeling on edge for no apparent reason, recurring nightmares, and finding yourself that you're just staying home more and more. More survivors of trauma, well, they eventually return to normal. However, some people will have stress reactions that do not go away on their own or may even get worse over time. People who suffer from PTSD often relive the experience through nightmares and flashbacks, have difficulty sleeping, and feel detached or estranged. These symptoms can be severe enough and last long enough to significantly impair a person's daily life. People with PTSD experience 3 different kinds of symptoms. The first set of symptoms involves reliving the trauma in some way, such as becoming upset when confronted by a traumatic reminder or thinking about the trauma when you're trying to do something else. I know a number of Vietnam vets that simply refuse to pick up an AR-15 because it's the civilian version of the M16 we carried in Vietnam. The second set of symptoms involves either staying away from places or people that remind you of the trauma, isolating from other people, or feeling numb. And the third set of symptoms includes things such as feeling on guard and irritable or startling easily. Those who have PTSD often develop additional disorders such as depression, substance abuse, problems of memory and cognition, and other problems of physical and mental health. The disorder is also associated with impairment of the person's ability to function in social or family life, including occupational instability, marital problems and divorces, family discord, and difficulties in parenting. According to the PTSD Foundation of America, an estimated 1 in 3 returning troops have serious post-traumatic stress symptoms. Fewer than 40% will seek help. PTSD can be treated. Early treatment is important and may help reduce long-term symptoms, but too often we marginalize, if not completely ignore, those with PTSD because of their odd, often intense behavior. Please be understanding when dealing with someone exhibiting such problems. Ignoring them won't solve the problem, and your understanding and help may well save a veteran's life. And that, Gretchen, is my rant for the week.
That's pretty serious stuff. And I hate to say too often it's a punchline of a joke.
It is.
I mean, it's because we have so many young people coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan. It's become a pop culture thing, but it's something that people joke about, and it's clearly not something to be taken lightly.
If you're living it, it's not funny.
It's not a joke.
No, it isn't, and it's an unfortunate thing. You're listening to On Target Radio. This is AM560 The Answer. Give us a call, 312-642-5600. Our guest this evening is Glenn Fleming, former TV personality of Discovery Channel's Sons of Guns, and owner, gunsmith, and gun builder of Acadiana Gunworks in Scott, Louisiana, and a retired U.S. Air Force AFSOC aerial gunner who served in Afghanistan as a helicopter door gunner. Glenn's on our show this evening to share his experience with PTSD and what happened to him when he sought help from the Department of Veteran Affairs. Glenn, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, man. How y'all doing?
We're doing fine. I'm glad. I appreciate your taking the time out to come on the show.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. Glad to be here.
So you were a door gunner in Afghanistan. That's a hairy job.
Well, it was technically door and tail. I was on the MH-50 Pavlos. It was pretty much the best job in the world. You know how it goes with combat. Hours of boredom combined with seconds of terror.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what we said in law enforcement too.
Yeah.
So you Afghanistan was not exactly a friendly place.
Nah.
I'm
pretty
sure
much if we flew, we got shot at. That was pretty much how that went.
When you get home, you find holes in the fuselage, right?
You find holes in different stuff, but for the most part, they weren't very good shots. Mostly just we flew strictly at night. We were there at the early stages of everything, so we flew strictly at night, and you could just see the tracers going off everywhere around you.
Yeah, and you know what? Often when we teach our seminar, I talk about the tracers. That's a really frightening thing. To this day, I don't own any firearm that has a laser or anything like that on it because I vividly remember the fact that you can watch your tracer going out, which is helpful, but it also shows where you're at.
Oh yeah, we used to have a saying: tracers work both ways.
That's exactly
He says
right.
that all the time.
That's exactly right. So all of that had an effect on you. Is that right?
Oh yeah. I like to think that part of it was positive and part of it was negative. I mean, any effect that you have from any situation, I think, kind of does both.
So, what sort of effect does that have on you? In just you come back, you're now out of the military, just back in civilian life. What sort of an effect does PTSD actually have on people?
Well, in my case, I actually got retired from the military for it. There's a couple other things, bad neck and some other stuff, but mostly it was a PTSD. What happened is things started getting really cartoony, and I started getting, just cartoony looking. It was real weird unless you experience it. You can't really explain it. And I started getting, I don't know, for lack of a better word, let's say violent tendencies. nothing I acted on, but it was something that I recognized as, you know, not being normal to me. I was pretty much a happy-go-lucky guy. So, you know, when things started getting weird, I actually went to and sought help through the military channel. Now, that was kind of difficult to do because I knew that would end my flying career right there.
Well, and that's right. And in the next segment, I want to specifically talk about, you know, your interaction with the VA, because that's been quite a hot topic lately. Yeah. All this, of course, it's bad enough for the person that has it, but it also has a pretty strong effect on the people around them too, does it not?
Oh yeah, almost definitely. I mean, you know, I was married after I was done deploying and stuff. When I moved to Japan, when I got stationed in Japan, I got married to my wife before that, and that's when I started kind of going downhill when I was in Japan, and I wasn't exposed to the war anymore. I wasn't deploying anymore, and I was kind of, well, to be honest with you, I was missing it a whole lot.
Oh, sure,
and I think that kind of just, no, it ballooned into what it came to be, you know.
It's difficult for people. They don't really understand. There's nothing in the human condition that prepares you for the types of things that you're going to see when you go over to a place like that and get involved in it. And while you're there, you're in the pressure cooker, and things just sort of go the way they go. But I remember, to me, the few times that we ever were involved in that sort of situation, it wasn't while it was happening that was scary. It was when it was over and you had time to think about it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, my first night in Afghanistan, we went and did a couple rescues for some dudes who'd been shot.
We only got 20 seconds. Let's pick that up when we come back. Okay. All right. We're going to be back with more On Target Radio when we come back after a few messages, and we're going to talk with Glenn Fleming about his interaction with the Veterans Administration. All that and more on Target Radio, and you're listening to AM560 The Answer.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer from the ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Okay, everything went dead.
Jiggle them out. Jiggle that out.
There we go.
Pick it up. And my phone says I have no service.
Do you want to bring it back? Oh no, actually.
No, I don't.
This is why we have a script. Ryan is going to bring it back. Yeah. Talking about Indian food.
Gaylord specifically.
And then do you want to ask him? You went and sought help with the VA?
Well, he was in the middle of a story, so we're gonna let him finish that story.
Okay, what was it? What was this? What were we doing?
I just heard an in the traffic report.
Yeah. He's new apparently.
Effect on home life, wasn't it? Nothing prepares you.
Oh, right.
In the human condition.
Right, and he was talking about like one of his first nights working.
Yeah, why don't you, after intern guy finishes, ask him about that. Say, you started to say, and Lombardo rudely cut you off.
Right. So before the break, you started telling the story.
But I want to spend time on the VA thing.
Sure.
Because that's a big deal.
Sure.
Everybody happy? We're all good?
Oh, yeah.
Have we boosted up to 2 yet? Give me a finger. We're up to 3. We have a 300% growth in our audience in the first segment. You get that? 300% growth.
Nice.
That was me because it was changing. It went to 2.
We just got a 1/3 reduction in our show. That's it. People jump out of windows for less than that.
You just slammed your dick in the door.
For a minute there, you were lining up to work on the president's economic team, but you can't admit the second part.
Hey,
it's like you're down in a hole. Are you?
Oh, that's right.
It's like you're down in a hole.
Your chair can go up more if you want. Yeah, last time in 6 we had like 8 or 9.
8 or 9. We just bounced up to 8 or 9.
No, not
this woman's reading a commercial line. She doesn't even one time say Stone Kitty.
Just rocketing right up.
That was still like the best club of all time. Oh, I was reading the quotes, and we always thank the sponsors, and Stone City Kitchen and Bath is one of the sponsors, and I messed up and I said Stone Kitty.
Stoned kitty, kitchen bath.
Stone kitty.
Nobody, I'm sure.
I probably said stone kitty stitching in bath. It's probably,
Stitching in bath. And bar.
probably what I said. But yeah, I mean, it was so bad that it made me laugh. I must have been listening to that. That's not bad. Because it was pretty epic. I think even Lombardo remembers that.
Which one's that?
So epic when I accidentally said stone kitty.
20 seconds. You know, it's live radio. That's what makes it interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
1-800-400-5401. That's 1-800-400-5401.
You're listening to On Target Radio on AM560 The Answer with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
And we're back. If you love great Indian cuisine, then you must experience Gaylord Fine Indian Cuisine in Schaumburg. Gaylord is so good that Gretchen and David eat there before the show. For over 38 years, 18 in Schaumburg, Gaylord has served an extensive menu of fine Indian cuisine. Signature dishes include tandoori jinga, jumbo prawns, chicken tikka masala, and the tangy and hot South Indian specialty lamb vindaloo. All dishes are prepared using only quality fresh ingredients, including the elaborate $12.95 lunch buffet that's cooked that morning. Manager Darren Dabrio invites you to come early when they open at 11:30 weekdays and noon on weekends to see the freshness for yourself. We recommend that you skip breakfast and save your appetite. Gaylord can accommodate business meetings or events for up to 60 people. Gaylord Fine Indian Cuisine is on Mall Drive, just south of Woodfield Mall. Call 847-619-3300 or visit gaylordil.com. Gaylord Fine Indian Cuisine is the Mercedes of fine Indian dining. 847-619-3300.
We're back with On Target Radio. We're speaking tonight with Glenn Fleming, who is a veteran of the war in Afghanistan. So, Glenn, you were in the middle of a story when we had to go to commercial.
Yeah. I was talking about the first time I was in Afghanistan, the first night. We went out and rescued a couple guys, who had been shot, and we were getting shot at. And the whole time I was thinking, man, they're shooting at me. What the hell did I ever do to them? And it's a real surreal kind of thing, It's strange when other people, well, actually, the whole country is really shooting at you in anger.
Yeah, there's nothing, and we say this all the time. There's nothing in the human condition that prepares you for someone who's just overtly trying to kill you.
Oh yeah, I agree completely, man. It was weird, and you kind of grew to get used to it, for lack of a better word, over the course of the whole tour.
Well, and sometimes I wonder if that isn't, of everything, if that's not the scariest part of all, that you actually do while you're there get used to it. It becomes what your way of life is.
Well, I think the biggest part of that, or the biggest problem with that, is complacency. You can get used to it, and you can not make that one call. That you have ground fire at 10 o'clock, break left, that kind of thing. You can make that one call, or not make that one call, just because you're complacent and put everybody in danger. So you always got to be on your toes.
Sure. You learn to take for granted things that you can't even imagine as a civilian ever taking for granted. I was telling my doctor just the other day that we used to do meatball surgery on guys with my right hand. I could suture with my right hand and eat a sandwich with my left hand. I mean, that's typical military,
Oh yeah. Well, you have to do what you have to do to get the job done.
Exactly.
And sometimes it involves shortcuts, but the shortcuts aren't. No, they just have to be done.
Absolutely. It's the job. You're listening to AM560 The Answer. Give us a call, 312-642-5600. We're talking about post-traumatic stress disorder, and our guest is Glenn Fleming. Glenn, you then you got involved with the VA, right?
Yeah. I got out and I came back to Louisiana, where I was from, and went to the VA, and that was a nightmare. It's an ongoing nightmare. The military had rated me 50% for retirement for PTSD and the other stuff. And I went to the VA, and my initial rating from the VA was 10% for tinnitus, with no mention of anything else. So
just for tinnitus, for ringing in your ears?
Oh yeah. It just kind of went downhill from there. And I had it's called a CMP exam. It's basically an exam that they, go in, you talk to, or they look up your physical condition to see how you are to do your ratings. So I had one of those, and in the course of that exam, they asked me, do you do bills, blah, 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 like that. And I told them, no, I don't do my bills because my wife does them. She's a banker. It's natural for her to do that. She can add a whole lot better than me. And so they were like, okay, no problem. And about a month after that CMP exam, I got a letter in the mail saying that they declared me financially incompetent, and they stripped me of all my Second Amendment rights.
That's so. What did they tell you to do? You have to turn in guns? Is that it?
Basically, yeah. They told me I couldn't be around firearms. I couldn't have firearms. The whole enchilada, I couldn't purchase any firearms. Everything like that. What the VA didn't know was at the time I was on a national TV show building machine guns on Discovery Channel.
A small deviation from what they were expecting.
Yeah. So needless to say, this, the whole thing kind of got me worried. I was like, well, am I going to go to jail over this crap? I'm building machine guns. They obviously know I'm around them. So I got in touch with some VA people and, kind of let them know what was going on. And I also kind of let them know that if they didn't, unscrew this, that I would be on the national TV show telling America and the world exactly what the VA thinks and does to the vets.
So I have a question. I have a question, Glenn. What year was this approximately, or maybe you remember?
Oh man, I was still on the show. Yeah, my memory is a little foggy all the time, but I was still on the show, so it probably was around 2012, 2013.
I was interested because we're only just now finding out about this from the news sources. So this has actually been going on for 2 or 3 years, most likely, possibly longer, and we're just now finding out about it.
Oh yeah. I have a little radio show called Firearms Friday that I do here on the local talk radio station, and I've talked about it before, a couple times, and I brought it up on my media sites and stuff like this. But I haven't really gone national with it. But anyway, back to the story right quick. I told them, I basically threatened them. I was going to say exactly what was going on to the world. And they said, "Oh, wait." And they got a federal inspector to come to my house. And he was like, he talked to me. He was like, "Yeah, you're not incompetent. You can just keep doing what you're doing. And we'll go ahead and
cured."
Yeah, exactly. They were scared. So they reinstated my Second Amendment rights, but only because I was lucky enough to be on a TV show that I could, for lack of a better word, that I could threaten them with that. So there's all kinds of vets out there that don't have that luxury, and they just get hosed. And that's going to do two things. It's going to strip veterans of their rights, and it's going to cause other veterans not to go in for help at all.
Well, and I think that's a really, really important observation, because this all boils down to the fact that you just let your wife do the checkbook.
Yeah, that's all it was.
It's not a question of incompetency in anything. It's just that she's better at doing it than you are, and you acknowledge it, and that's it.
And it's somebody filled out a form and said you weren't doing your own checkbook. I mean, the fact that was premeditated on the part of someone at the VA is really horrific.
Yeah.
This is the thing. I found out later that the CMP examiner didn't put down that I was incompetent.
Really?
So somebody higher up in the organization actually said that I was incompetent without even talking to me, just based on what they had written down.
Now, how did they know you had firearms to begin with?
Oh, it was pretty obvious. I have nothing but gun shirts,
Well, there you go. Well, it's become a really hot topic in just the past few months, really, probably 4 or 5 months, as it turned up, that it's gone back a number of years, and it's just been kind of hidden so far.
Oh yeah. It's man, the VA, I don't have a lot of faith in them. I really don't. When you work with them one-on-one, face to face with one person, generally speaking, they're pretty good. They're not bad at all, and they want to help you. But when you get into the higher echelon of the organization, let's say, that's when problems start to happen.
It gets political.
Exactly.
Yeah, and this administration is anti-gun. I mean, they've come out and said it point blank.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I'm glad you finally got you got the okay and you're back upright. When we come back in the next segment, I want to talk a little bit about your business, Acadiana Gun Works, and let people know what you're doing these days and how that's going. So we're going to talk about that. And no, I won't ask. I was going to say how many guns do you have, but that's a tacky question, isn't it?
I don't actually know.
That's the good answer. You know what they say, Glenn? If you know how many guns you have, you don't have enough.
I agree.
Absolutely. All right. So that's going to bring us to the end of another segment. We've got to take a break, and we'll talk some more. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about what Glenn is doing these days with Acadiana Gun Works. So all that and more coming up on Target Radio. And you are listening to AM560, The Answer.
It's become a summer tradition. And on July 18th, the tradition continues. It's Rockin' for the Troops 2015 with Gary Sinise and the Lieutenant Dan Band.
Let's rock for the troops tonight, right? Are we rocking for the troops?
At Contini Park in Wheaton.
Everybody clap your hands, come on!
Get your tickets before they're gone. Stop by Jewel Osco stores in Wheaton, Naperville, or Bolingbrook, or visit 560theanswer.com and search for the keyword rock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Karen McHugh. David Sweat, the other escapee from an upstate New York prison who was shot and captured this afternoon, is now being treated for his wounds.
At this time, his condition is listed as critical.
Dr. Dennis McKenna is the director of the Albany Medical Center. Sweat was finally spotted in the town of Constable, New York, just a couple of miles from the Canadian border. His capture.
And you've answered your own question. If they weren't idiots, they would be doing something useful.
I know,
Yeah,
but you
they
would
wouldn't
think
be
that,
good.
like, if you just broke out of prison, my initial thought, get out of there.
Get the hell out of Dodge. Yeah.
You need to go north to Canada, drive down to Mexico. There's places where you could get into Mexico, no problem. Yeah, they would probably be happy to take you.
The border.
Stupid.
That's why the criminals, Brian.
Yeah.
We report, you decide.
It's just surprising.
Yeah, it is. It really is. But
I think Adam Carolla has like a 11 a.m. shadow.
ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center.
who are you talking?
The guy on the left on the Fox News one. That
him?
guy. Yeah.
Is that cool? Yeah, from the Man Show.
I said that.
Not to be confused with this Man Show. Yeah.
Because what was that show he did with Dr. Drew? The sex line, sex talk?
That's not the first thing I thought of. That was like
Yeah.
the first.
I think that was the first thing that I ever heard from him. He actually was not that good on that show. He was really stupid. I love Dr. Drew though.
He's gotten better over the years. Jimmy Kimmel was the funny guy.
Yeah, the Man Show was. I even had to. It was kind of funny.
Certainly funnier than he was more like a straight man.
Yeah.
Not that he intended to be a straight man, but he was more.
Yeah,
of a straight
he
man.
ended up being. Yeah. They both
Safer
were pretty.
USA,
good
Chicago's
Christmas
most
response.
trusted name in firearm training, is offering
I
beginners
think it was on
classes,
Comedy
tactical
Central,
pistol and rifle, long-range
show
rifle
called
to
The Man
600
Show,
yards,
which is all
and the most
about
comprehensive.
I still think the funniest thing they ever did, and I know I've said this before, the funniest thing they ever did was the Moose Hour.
and Gretchen Fritz.
That was,
Oh, yeah.
That's just the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive.
Have you ever
And
seen
people would
the,
talk to it. That's the best part.
have you ever seen the Demon
Firearm,
Baby prank?
ammunition, holster, class notebook, and
These
lunch
guys
are provided.
basically put
Safer
the robots
USA.
in a cart.
Yeah, and it was like thrown up everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So funny.
Illinois concealed carry program. It also qualifies you for Florida,
Yeah.
Utah,
Yeah,
and
my mom
Arizona
should know.
non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000
She's got a
students
warp sense
already
of
know
humor.
at saferusa.com
Warp sense of humor
or
is good.
call 877-954-3030. That's 877-954-3030. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has supported the rights and freedoms of Illinois citizens to keep and bear arms. For over 100 years, the ISRA has supported the use of firearms as a sport for personal protection and as a fundamental aspect of national defense. For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has been supporting you. Don't you think it's time you supported them? ISRA.org or 815-635-3198. The Illinois State Rifle Association, supporting you.
Did you need a makeover? Tired of your outdated bathroom? Did a big box store raise more questions than answers? The answer is Stone City. 2 million square feet of marble and granite countertops in 50 colors starting at $26 a square foot installed. Plus the latest appliances, cabinetry, faucets, and fixtures. Stone City designers transform your dream into reality. Stone City, 3053 West Brandon, Chicago, or call 773-533-9806. That's 773-533-9806. Stone City, it's your home.
Because I'm seeing you slamming on the pin button and nothing's happening. A real life story. Oh, you did? Okay, that's fine. I must have caught you exactly as you're doing it.
No, I did it like 10 minutes ago.
Well, I'm sitting here. I'm clicking the button.
Yeah, I did it a while ago.
758-5360.
You have a page.
I had heard about Trinity,
so we can pin things to the top of it, and you speed, they can push it down.
Now
So
I am
every year, every week, he pins the synopsis for this week's show to the top, so that anything else that gets posted goes below it. But then when people schedule it, like, you call and answer a question. Yeah.
Your dad has you down.
My name is Ann.
Bad
Dad's free.
That's 1-800-758-5360.
Yeah, we haven't had it yet.
Here we go. Okay. So Rico.
With David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
Hi, I'm Rich Cizek, Advertising Sales Director for the On Target Media Group. If you own a small business and need more exposure to potential customers, or what small business doesn't, we can help. For over 2.5 years, the On Target Media Group has been helping small businesses grow. We offer many different and affordable marketing packages through our partnership program. Plus, we can even create a custom program tailored to your business's needs. To find out more on how we can help you, send me an email at sales.ontargetradio@gmail.com or visit our website at otmediagroup.net/sponsorship. We look forward to helping your business reach its target.
And we're back with more On Target Radio. Give us a call, 312-642-5600. It's kind of quiet tonight. People are, we know people are listening, but it's just kind of quiet.
They're just sitting back and
They're listening, just listening. We're talking with Glenn Fleming this evening. Glenn is a retired Air Force guy, and he was on the TV show Sons of Guns, which we're going to talk about in the next section. But right now, we are following. Glenn got the bill of health from the VA, got his guns back. And Glenn, what are you doing now?
Oh, right now I'm a part owner in my own gun shop in Scott, Louisiana, called Acadiana Gunworks. We pretty much do everything.
You build rifles, don't you?
I do. We build rifles. We repair. Basically, we work on from your grandfather's 22 on up to artillery and stuff. I mean, a couple months ago, I brokered a deal with a tank. A couple days ago, I was working on a belt-fed M249 saw. Day before that, I was working on a little shotgun for some duck hunting guys. You know, we do it all.
You got our engineer George. He just broke out in a sweat with thumbs up when you said tank. You caught his immediately got his attention. You actually, how do you get a tank? I mean, like somebody just drives up to the front door with a tank and goes, "Can you fix flat tread?" How does that work?
Well, I was lucky enough, to meet a bunch of people through the show, and I still maintain good contacts with those people. We're still friends for the most part. And so this one company approached me. They're like, "Hey, man, we want a tank." So I'm like, "Okay, I can find you that." So I found them a M4E2 or A2E8 Sherman tank.
That's an old tank.
Barrel.
That's an old tank.
Oh yeah. It's off of fresh restoration. It's an absolutely gorgeous tank. Live gun on it. They're waiting on the paperwork for the gun, but it's a live gun, 76 millimeter, and cost them somewhere in the neighborhood of about $600,000.
Now you're a welder, right? Isn't that kind of what you do?
Not really. You know, I weld a little bit, but I wouldn't call myself a welder. I can stick stuff together, and I'm all right at it. But I'm not like a master or anything.
Because I would think on a project like that, there would be a lot of restoration, a lot of welding, a lot of metal work.
Oh, there definitely is, definitely is. But to be honest with you, that's beyond my scope. Rebuilding a tank that involves. I memean, I talked to the guy who actually rebuilt the tank, and I was like, man, how do you do this without smashing yourself? Because everything on it weighs 1,000 pounds. And he was like, man, you don't really mess with it at all. Nothing's heavy because you use hoist and cranes for everything. I was like, no, that makes sense. Yeah.
Did you get to drive the tank?
Actually, I did. I drove it out at their ranch in Uvalde. And it's my hat goes off to the people who drove that because it is a bear to drive a tank.
So that's a little more towards the edge of the envelope there. What do you most commonly do?
Really, my most common stuff is machine guns. That's kind of what I'm known for. So a bunch of people nationwide send me their machine guns to fix or to just repair in some manner or other. And of course, I do the regular gunsmithing as well. But we have another employee that does mostly the regular gunsmithing. Shotguns, 22s, stuff like that.
Are you seeing a lot of like ARs and AKs going out now?
Oh yeah. I mean, not as much as when they have the panics and stuff. Every time Obama talks about gun control, you can bet your bottom dollar we're going to sell a bunch of ARs. Just that's a fact.
Somebody, I forget who it was, and it's been repeated a million times, but somebody called them the greatest gun salesman in the history of the country.
Oh yeah. I'd honestly think he was on like Bushmaster's payroll if he wasn't such a. Well, I won't say such a what, but I think he was on their payroll, because he does a great job for them.
And I bet he loves that.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about writing him a thank you letter, for getting our business going real well, but I don't think he'd read it. So, and I wouldn't waste a stamp on it.
So in the minute we got left in this segment, if somebody said, I want one rifle that I can use to defend myself if I need to do it, if everything goes south, what would your recommendation be?
AR-15.
There we go. Yeah, it's now the most popular firearm made.
Oh yeah, for a reason.
And with a platform system, with a rail system, I mean, you can turn it into a Christmas tree if you want.
Oh yeah. Well, an AR is like Legos. I mean, you can put whatever you want on it. You can put a coffee maker on it if you want. It'll stick on there some kind of way. But I mean, the ergonomics of it are they're just great. It's a really well thought out design. It's a well thought out gun, and it's really pleasant to shoot.
All right, we're going to come back with one more segment. We're going to talk about television. When we're back with more Glenn Fleming, and that's on Target Radio. And you're listening to AM560 The Answer.
You're bubbling there for me? Sure did.
Juggling two balls, trying to
like froze, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. What do we do when we come back? You want to just cut that whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you bring it back? Because you haven't talked to him. You haven't said anything, so he doesn't even, I mean, I shouldn't know that you're here, but he knows you by name, right? We'll just say, this is Rick. And then answer the question.
Is he going to bring it back in? He should go, and we're back with more.
Yeah, you want to do that? Okay. You know the drill. And we're back on Target Radio.
Tomorrow, partly cloudy, high of 72.
No, you have to say social media for it, because now you're talking to him personally.
Yeah.
You want him to remember it.
And you've already said your name in the promo, so the audience knows who you are as well.
Yeah, just
say this is Rick, to remind Glenn, and then answer the question.
Glenn, this is Rick. How you doing?
David, Lombardo, and Gretchen, Fritz.
They said our names. We're on the radio. Oh wait, we are.
We're on the radio.
That's right.
I was looking, we were up to 8, then we divided to 7, bounced around.
Apparently, people at 8. What are we at now?
We're at 7 now. We were at 8 about a minute ago. I had a feeling it'll peak at 6.
That's what it was on Ustream.
Yeah. But at least with this now, we got better stuff. Our audio, we got Glenn on YouTube now.
Yeah, that makes a big difference when your only guess is a caller. Yeah. One day we'll be double digit. 11.
Here's some great news. Jack about us can help you with your retirement game.
See, when you couldn't hear the caller,
Should. Jack is the
only
president
goofy
and
people like
founder
me
of the
would
Association.
watch
He's been helping
because
folks
I was
just like you
seeing
retire
antics that
successfully
went on
for
in
3
the
decades. Jack has
It really
the
helps a
insight,
lot
information, strategy,
to
and
try and
experience you can use to build
Watch.
wealth and live good. Retire
Oh,
well
yeah,
with Jack about us.
Yeah, just say this is Rick.
30 seconds. The stories, news, team, Blair, and
What just started
here's
that?
you to live a shiny new guy. If you and your pet can more than have to evacuate
Times they randomly play
carry your reptile
sounds.
out of the house, you have 5 seconds.
Okay, let's see. If you have an iguana, I guess I'd carry.
Oh, I'm sorry, your time's up. What? You stick your lizard in a pillowcase or a cloth set.
I was going to say that.
Get more pet tips at ready.illinois.gov.
Sponsored by the Illinois Emergency Management Agency.
You're listening to On Target Radio on AM560 The Answer with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
And we're back with more On Target Radio. So, Glenn, this is Rick here. I got a question for you. In regards to that tank, are you actually going to do any video on that for your Gunner's Vault on YouTube?
I actually have the video right now, and we're editing it down. Because I have video of me inspecting the tank up in May, and video of me down in Texas driving it and working on it and doing stuff like that.
Awesome. Great. I'm looking forward to seeing that. That's cool.
Did you like run over any cars or anything?
No, actually, I learned something, though. It's not easy to run over a car in a tank. You have to do it at an angle, otherwise you just push the car.
I'm not sure that we want to know why you know that. That sounds like something the VA would crucify you over.
It kind of sounds like when I'm going up a hill with my Corvette.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, Corvette, nice.
Oh yeah, he's got a Corvette. Yeah, he likes to flash. He's just oh wait, that's a bad choice of words.
Oh yeah,
that's okay. On to the next topic. So here's in our last segment here. Tell us a little bit about how you got involved, with television and the whole Sons of Guns. How did that start?
Well, to be honest with you, it's just lucky. Right place, right time. I was doing some gunsmithing for a friend of mine in his shop in Lafayette. And I saw that on an internet forum I go through, this place, Red Jacket was looking for a gunsmith. And I'm like, well, crap, I want to be on TV. So I wrote him an email saying, look, I'm Glenn, I'm gunsmith, and I've built MG42s, I've done this, blah, 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 blah. And they were like, oh, well, cool, come on in and do an interview. And luckily enough, my interview consisted of fixing a 50 cal. Damn near my whole Air Force career was 50 cals. So I went in there and fixed it pretty easily, and they were like, okay, you're hired. After that, I had an interview with Discovery Channel, and then we filmed me getting on the Red Jacket.
Now, where did that film out of?
What do you mean?
Where did they shoot that?
Oh, they shot that in Baton Rouge.
Oh, so it was basically local, pretty much local for you.
Well, not really. I actually lived the whole time. I lived an hour away from Baton Rouge and Scott.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not like you had to go to L.A.
Oh no, not at all. No.
So you were on that show how long?
Crap, how long was I on there? 2 or 3 years. I think 3 years.
Okay. And is it still? It's not on still. And didn't it?
No. Oh no.
Something went crossways.
No.
Didn't something go crossways with it?
Yeah, it's.
Okay. Well, all right. We're not. Apparently,
we won't touch that.
We're going somewhere else on that one. Okay, never mind. I remember reading something about it, and yeah. Okay, that's fine. But
yeah, suffice it to say that I left before all that went down, and I'm completely so happy that I did.
That's good.
Well, that's a good thing. Yeah, it is. It's a good thing. But it is fun doing that kind of work, though.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, man. Every week I'd work on a different machine gun or artillery piece or something like that. So I had a lot of fun doing it. I met a bunch of cool people in the industry, made a bunch of friends. You know, it made a name for myself that worked out really well post-show. So, I mean, I as far as the show and the TV production company, I have nothing bad to say about them.
It's a lot of work that goes into doing that. And Pete, when you watch it on television, it looks like it's just, oh, okay, you know, they kind of go in and just shoot me while I'm working. But it takes some time to set all that up and put it together, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. My regular day consisted, a general day was 7 in the morning till about midnight. And that was 5 days a week. The 6th day, we'd film the reveal, it was called, where we go out with the client and shoot stuff. And that was sun up to sundown.
They did you have to do retakes of scenes?
Oh yeah. I'll let y'all in on a little secret about reality TV. There's no reality to it.
That's kind of where I was heading with that question. Reality TV is reality only in the eyes of the people who are watching it.
Exactly. I mean, I rarely watch TV now. I've been spoiled from it. But on the off chance I do, I'll watch it and I'll like, oh man, the camera angle's over here, or oh, the sound man screwed up right here. You know, I'll look at it that way. I won't look at it for like any kind of story or anything like that because I know it's not real.
It's all it's all fiction and put together. I remember when I was at the University of Illinois, I was in charge of the usher staff at the assembly hall, and I would have to sit through 10 episodes or whatever shows of the circus. And the one thing that really struck me was every chill, every thrill, every spill, we're going to break the world's record today is identical in every performance. It's only the eyes of the beholder that it's magic. The reality is it's just a lot of work, huh?
Yeah. I mean, no fool is going to go out there and risk his life, you know, every day doing something different without practicing it day in and day out. And once you get it down, then you do it day in and day out for the audience, you know?
That's it. So tell me, Glenn, what's next? Where are you going now? What's happening? You got about 30 seconds.
Yeah. Well, we're going to continue with the Acadiana Gunworks and just do our thing, you know? We're doing real well. We're going to increase our online presence. We're actually thinking about producing some light tactical vehicles. So we got a couple things down the pipe.
Good for you. I'm glad things have worked out for you and that you're well. And you are well on the road to success. I appreciate you coming in this evening and spending the time with us.
Not at all. Thank you for having me.
I got to thank Rick because Rick is the guy that set it all up.
Yeah, thanks, Glenn. I appreciate you coming on the show.
No, thank you, man. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Take care. Thank you.
Y'all too, guys.
All righty. All right. Well, there you go. That was interesting.
Very interesting.
Very interesting stuff. When we come back, we'll wrap it all up. We just got a few odds and ends to do. We've got Gretchen's action items and so on. So we'll come back, a few more items to go, and then we'll be doing segment 6 too. We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll be back with more On Target Radio. You're listening to AM560, The Answer.
You guys aren't talking him at all before you hang up.
No, our guest for the whole show.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. AM560 On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invites you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com or call 877-954-3030. That's 877-954-3030. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
You were letting him go, yeah?
Yes. Your own death.
But I'm glad I finally
Good,
did.
'cause it just
See,
hung up on
I
me.
was putting off getting life insurance even though I knew it was.
I had to say goodbye first, but I just, I just want to make sure you weren't like, where'd he go?
That was the short answer.
It really made me face reality. If my husband died, how would I pay the mortgage? The car payment?
Is our boy here today?
I needed to get us life insurance right away.
Not yet, but that's really not anything new recently. Sometimes he has games on Sundays, so he ended up, and the last time they went into 11 innings, so he literally,
so much better.
left it with the assistant coaches and drove up from like wherever they were. Anyway, 15 seconds.
The call takes less than 5 minutes, and you can save up to 70%. Call now. 1-800-503-5567. That's 1-800-503-5567. 1-800-503-5567.
You're listening to On Target Radio on AM560 The Answer with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
And we're back with more On Target Radio. It's been interesting. It's a good show.
Yeah, I think it was good because a lot of veterans, especially people who have a run-in with the VA, problems with the VA, don't want to talk about it. And so, it's nice to find somebody who's able to speak freely about it.
And came out the other end in good condition. I mean, it certainly is unfortunate that the whole thing happened, but
absolutely
it worked out at least.
Absolutely.
And that's a good thing.
As he pointed out, most people don't have the leverage that he had at that time to be able to, get their way about their Second Amendment rights. So that's a shame.
And all the more so it stands out now when we read about it because it was all a big secret and they didn't want somebody blowing it.
Right.
John Q, the average poor schmuck that goes in there, has no way of doing that.
Right.
So,
exactly.
All right. So here it comes. It's a moment you wait for every week. What you can do in the upcoming week.
Stand by. Here's Gretchen with your action items for the week.
Contact your U.S. representative and encourage them to support H.R. 2710, the Lawful Purpose and Self-Defense Act of 2015. This act removes the sporting purposes language from the Gun Control Act of 1968. From the ISRA, they would like you to go on the website, luckygunner.com/Brady-V-Lucky-Gunner. I put that on our Facebook page. They would like you to go on there. What happened is the Brady campaign, Sarah Brady sued Lucky Gunner and lost. And so now they have to pay their legal fees. So they have an extra $100,000 they would like to give away to, let's see, what do they call it? To a pro-gun organization. So they want you to go on and vote for the ISRA so that they have a shot at the $100,000. So it's a grant from Lucky Gunner, and they would like to be competitive in that. So if you would go to the Lucky Gunner website and vote for the ISRA, they would appreciate that.
I did.
I did too.
Good job. The weather is heating up, and so is the class schedule. The following Safer USA classes are all at our office in Waterman. Saturday and Sunday, July 11th and 12th, Illinois Concealed Carry 1. This 16-hour class will be taught by David and Gretchen and meets the training requirements for Illinois Concealed Carry, as well as Florida, Arizona, and Utah. Saturday, July 11th, NRA Basic Pistol, taught by David. Sunday, July 12th, Concealed Carry Live Fire 1 and 2, taught by Eric. Ladies, listen up. Sunday, July 12th, Women's Concealed Carry Issues, taught by Gretchen. Learn about, see demonstrated, and try on several different types of women's holsters for less than the cost of one holster. Saturday, July 18th, Illinois Concealed Carry 2 for those who have an exemption for the first 8 hours, taught by Gretchen. Saturday, July 18th, Tactical Pistol 1 and 2, taught by David. Saturday, July 18th, Long Range Rifle, taught by Ed Janka. To sign up for classes, go to saferusa.com and click on register.
All right. Wow. It's been another show. It's amazing. We've got segment 6 we're going to do tonight. Yeah?
Yeah. Tonight in segment 6, we're going to be discussing the whole Confederate flag issue that's been going around, essentially using whiteout on history.
It's
quite a brouhaha.
This whole rewriting history stuff, it's starting to bug me.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk more about that. We'll talk about a little bit in segment 6, but I think we're going to do more about that in the future too, because it's out of control. I mean, it really has gotten out of control.
Okay.
And the interesting thing is that flag wasn't about racism. That flag was a battle flag. It was a totally different thing.
Yes.
As my friend, the professor, used to say it was all about states' rights. It wasn't anyway. That's it. All right. Thank you for listening to On Target Radio, and be sure to listen next week when we'll be covering the red meat issues that affect your life.
We'd also like to thank Glenn Fleming for joining us this evening, George Hoffman on the board, our social media coordinator and ad sales director, Rick Cizak, our intern, Brian Schmaltz, my mom for coming in, and our sponsors, DS Arms, Gaylord's Fine Indian Cuisine, the Illinois State Rifle Association, the Aurora Sportsman's Club, Stone City Kitchen and Bath Design Center, and Safer USA.
And thanks, Mike, for making it all happen.
The following is